It was the kind of gray Monday afternoon that felt suspended in time, the sky a blanket of dull slate, clouds sagging low like they'd forgotten how to move, and the air heavy with routine. The sort of day that hums with the soft monotony of laundry tumbling in the dryer, and a clock ticking just loud enough to notice. I was cleaning up after lunch, wiping the last ring of a coffee mug off the kitchen counter, when Alex, my husband, spoke from the couch in that offhand, careless way he always used when he didn't want something to seem like a big deal. "Oh, by the way," he said, still scrolling lazily through his phone. "I've been asked to head out on a work trip overseas. Leaves Wednesday. Back next week." The words hit me like a stone to the chest. His tone was light, like he'd mentioned picking up dry cleaning, not that he was about to vanish for 7 days. A whole week alone in the house. It wasn't unheard of. His job as a project manager often took him to conferences or on-site visits. Still, the reality of being by myself for that long made something cold curl in my stomach. He must have caught the flicker in my eyes because he gave me that boyish grin, the one that still, after all these years, could disarm me. "It's just a week, Emma. I'll call you every night." By Tuesday evening, I watched him zip up his sleek black suitcase with that same familiar efficiency, the practiced ritual of shirt folding and tie packing that marked every departure. He kissed my forehead gently, warm, familiar lips against my skin, and waved from the driveway as the cab pulled away, taillights disappearing into the overcast dusk. The second the front door clicked shut behind me, the house seemed to shift. It became too quiet, too still, like it was holding its breath. The absence of his presence echoed through every hallway. I tried to fill the silence. On Wednesday, I buried myself in spreadsheets, my remote accounting job offering the dull comfort of routine. The glow of my laptop screen became a dim shield against the loneliness creeping in. Thursday, I binged a gritty crime series, one of those violent, dark ones Alex always teased me about. I let the crash of gunfire and terse dialogue fill the silence. I took long walks too, looping around our suburban neighborhood. Past manicured lawns, kids weaving between mailboxes on their bikes, the golden retriever that always barked from Mrs. Carter's front porch. The first 2 days passed in a blur of distraction, but by Friday night something shifted. I was curled up on our worn leather couch, a steaming mug of chamomile tea warming my hands, the earthy scent mingling with lavender from a candle I'd lit for company. I was halfway through a dog-eared thriller, skimming through a chase scene when the doorbell rang. The sound split the quiet like a lightning strike. I stiffened, heart skipping. No one was supposed to be here. A prickle of unease danced along my spine. I padded softly to the door, peeking through the peephole. Ryan stood on the porch. Alex's best friend. He was holding a bottle of wine. His dark hair tousled from the breeze, that easy grin on his face, the one he'd worn since college. "Hey, Emma," he said, smooth as ever. "I was in the neighborhood. Had a late meeting nearby. Figured I'd swing by. Alex mentioned he'd be gone and I thought, maybe you wouldn't mind some company." I laughed a little too high, nerves hitching in my throat. "You didn't have to go out of your way," I said, stepping aside. "But come on in." He walked past me into the house, the faint squeak of his sneakers on the hardwood oddly loud. I caught a whiff of his cologne, woodsy, clean, familiar. Ryan had always been part of the backdrop of our life. I met him just after I started dating Alex in our early 20s. They'd been inseparable since UCLA. Study sessions, basketball games, awful action movie marathons. He was there at every barbecue, every game night, even the Tahoe trip 3 years ago. But it had never been just the two of us. Never like this. We settled in the living room, me on the couch, him in the armchair. I brought out 2 mismatched wine glasses. One was chipped, a souvenir from a vineyard Alex and I visited years back. Ryan poured low, the wine catching the light in a deep red glow. At first, we talked about safe things. My accounting deadlines, his current project, how Alex was probably charming clients over overpriced steaks in London. The conversation flowed easily. His laugh was contagious. His eyes crinkling in the corners in that way I'd never really noticed before. Warm. engaged, focused. And then, it started to change. I noticed how he leaned in when I spoke. How he listened, not just politely but deeply. As if every word mattered. When I made a joke, his laugh was genuine, not just a reflex. At some point, I was rambling about the neighbor's yappy chihuahua when I caught his gaze lingering. Not invasive, not inappropriate. Just a moment too long. Subtle electric pause. My breath caught. I brushed it off. It was nothing. Just wine and nostalgia and loneliness. At 11 I stretched and yawned. I should probably call it a night. He stood too, thanked me for the evening and smiled again, that same disarming grin. When the door latched behind him, a strange twist coiled in my gut. Something had shifted. Saturday morning hit me with the weight of a hangover, though I'd only had 2 glasses of wine. I lay tangled in the bedsheets, the empty space where Alex usually slept untouched. Ryan's visit kept replaying in my mind like a looped clip. His laugh, his eyes, the silence that hung just a little too long. Shouldn't have stuck with me. But it did. I told myself it was just the comfort of seeing a familiar face after 3 days alone. But when I brewed coffee and leaned against the counter, stirring sugar into the cup, I felt it. An itch under the skin. Restlessness. By afternoon I gave up pretending. I called Sophie, my best friend since high school, the one who knew how to untangle my chaos. Ryan came by last night, I said. There was a pause. Alex's Ryan. Yeah. He was nearby. Brought wine. We hung out. It was nice but... I hesitated. But, she prompted. There was this moment, I whispered. Nothing happened. But it felt loaded. Sophie hummed thoughtfully. What did he do? Nothing, I said quickly. That's the thing. It wasn't what he did. Just this, undercurrent. You're probably overthinking it, she said, but I could hear the doubt behind her words. That evening my phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. Had a good time last night. Hope I didn't overstay my welcome. My heart stuttered. I typed and deleted 3 responses before landing on. Not at all. Was great to see you. His reply came almost instantly. Glad you think so. I could drop by tomorrow if you're free. Only if you want, no pressure. A tug of war started in my chest. One voice screamed to shut it down now. But another, tired of silence, of being invisible, whispered, say yes. I did. Sunday buzzed with nervous energy. Vacuumed twice. Changed outfits 3 times. When Ryan rang the bell at 6 p.m., he stood with a paper bag of Thai takeout, pad Thai and spring rolls. My favorites. We ate at the kitchen table over paper plates, laughing, swapping stories. The comfort was there, but so was the undercurrent. Every glance, every touch of laughter, felt like a spark waiting to catch. After dinner, while washing dishes, the words tumbled out of me before I could stop them. Ryan. Do you ever imagine what it'd be like if we weren't tied down? The kitchen froze. He turned slowly, a damp cloth in his hand. His face, caught between surprise and something else. All the time, he said quietly. More than I'd admit. My heart thudded in my chest. I shouldn't have said that, I whispered. I love Alex. I know, he said. And I'd never cross that line. But being here with you, it's not simple. We stood in silence, the air pulsing with everything unspoken. Then he broke the moment, tossing the cloth on the counter. I should go before we do something we can't undo. He nodded. He left. And the quiet swallowed me whole. Monday morning dawned bright and hollow. Guilt clung like a second skin. When Alex called from London, I tried to laugh to sound like myself. But I wasn't. Later that night I called Ryan. I just want to make sure we're still okay. Yeah. We're fine, he said, but the words felt paper thin. I don't want this to change anything. We just need to be careful, he said. This could get messy. He was right. And it hurt. But the next day he messaged again. Can we talk? I should have ignored it. But I didn't. He came by that night. We sat on the couch, a cushion of space between us, the TV murmuring nonsense in the background. "I've been a wreck," he admitted. "You're in my head, Emma. I don't want that. But it's there." My voice was barely a whisper. "We can't do this, Ryan. Not to Alex." "I know. But knowing doesn't switch it off." The air buzzed with danger and longing. Could still walk away. But I wasn't sure if I would.